Quark, did you hear the video click on? You did. Anyway, welcome back to Traveling with the Graham Cracker. It's been a few weeks since I've been here. Last I left you, I was traveling in Fargo, North Dakota, I do believe. Definitely not in Fargo, North Dakota anymore. Fargo's a bit too cold for me at this time of the year. So, where am I at today? Well, let me let you take a peek. Does that look familiar to some of you? Yes, it is quartzite. I am back in Arizona, back to the dirt. And today, if you can see, there's a lot of dust and dirt swirling around in that wind out there. And I'm sitting in the van. Anyway, it's been a few weeks since I traveled. Since I put out a video. I have been decompressing from all the events that took place this summer. There was a lot of events that took place this summer, and it was a long, hard summer. As many of you know from watching my videos, I went up to Idaho to help my eldest daughter, who was sick. That was very trying and trying. I don't know the other word I want for it, but it was a pretty trying experience. There was some good moments, there was some bad moments, there was some scary moments, and there were some fun moments. After traveling to Idaho, I went on up to Fargo to see my other daughter in hopes of rescuing my belongings from her basement, which I did, seeing my grandchildren and my great-grandson, which I did, and looking for work, which I looked, got hired, but did not get the job. So I left Fargo the 23rd of October, the day after my eldest daughter's birthday, and started heading south, directly south from there. The clip I'm going to show you today is a little bit of travel from going south and a couple of things that happened along the way. Things that I wasn't prepared for. Things that should have been prepared for but wasn't. And I'll be paying the price for those things for a while. Anyway, come watch the video and find out what they were. Alright, without further ado, I'm going to put that clip in here and I'll be back after the clips. Okay guys, look at this. I don't know what it is, but this is Fort Randall Dam. I'm not sure if we're in Nebraska or if we are still in South Dakota. I have no idea. Quark, settle down. I'm talking, so he really likes to bump up here every time I turn on the thing. Fort Randall Dam. Across this thing. That down there. It's foggy here. What they're doing here. This might be the Platte River. I don't know what it is, but it's Fort Randall. I'll have to look. I have to look on the. I'll have to look and put in what it is, what river it is. It's huge, huge river. Power plant down there. Big power plant. Well, I'm going to break in here for that little clip. That little clip was in South Dakota, just before you cross over into Nebraska. That was Fort Randall Dam, and it's on the Missouri River, not the Platte River. That's a huge river, and that Missouri River goes way down south. Anyway, it was a beautiful area. It was a little foggy that day. Well, things didn't go well with the camera on that particular day, but the sun came out, and the rolling hills in Nebraska were quite beautiful. There was a lot of changing colors. It was absolutely stunning going down those hills, and I didn't capture any of it. I know I took some pictures of it, but evidently they didn't take in the camera because they're not here. So I'm sorry about that. I did not film well on my way home. Anyway, I will now be adding in the rest of the video, so hang in there and keep watching. Just keep watching. We'll come back at you in a minute. Well, we're back on the road again. Today is, I think, Thursday the 2nd. I'm in a little tiny little village called San Juan in New Mexico. I didn't film for a few days while I was traveling because we had a mechanical breakdown, and I wanted to get that fixed before I made a film about what happened and where we are. We broke down, let's see, we left Fargo Monday the 23rd, day after Janelle's birthday. We got into Phillipsburg, Kansas on Friday, and my alternator went out on my van, and we bought one, and then it still wouldn't charge, so I had to wait until Monday to figure this all out. The mechanics had no idea what was going on because this van has a unique alternator system. Actually, for you mechanics out there, it's not so unique, but for me, it was unique. It's a it is what you call a Pentex alternator system. They're made for buses and trucks that have to idle for long periods of time. It's a 200 amp alternator, and they couldn't find a replacement for the van because they had never heard of a Pentex before, and they couldn't find the replacement because it's not a Dodge part. So in their search for a replacement that would fit my vehicle, they found a Motorcraft, which is a Ford product, that fits in there just nice. However, like I said, it still wouldn't charge, so we assumed it was the regulator because this Pentex has a external regulator on it. I don't know anything about electrical stuff in the car. I can take a bolt out, put a bolt back in, and put the stuff together. That's about as far as I go. Troubleshooting, I have a little harder time, but I can tear it apart and put it back together. Troubleshooting is my downfall. So the mechanics basically washed their hands of it, and they weren't going to do any more. In fact, the guy gave me a lot of my money back because he couldn't get me on the road, and said that there's nothing more he can do about it. And I'm like, what am I going to do? I'm stuck. So I start thinking of all kinds of other plans to do, like get a battery charger and hook it up to the battery and limp myself down to a bigger town, which that would work. Find out about this regulator because I don't know what it is. I don't know what it looks like. I don't even know where to find it. So I got texting. I texted some of my nomad friends. I texted my mechanic down in Quartzsite. Then Monday morning started calling around to different shops to find out what do I do. So I didn't know really what to do. Sunday, I got online and started looking up Pentex. I found the alternator. Pentex is out of business. Isn't that nice? Found the voltage regulator. Very expensive. So I'm like, okay, and where is it? It says where it is on the website. So I start looking under the dash for it, and I can't find it. So I told the mechanic what I was going to do, which was try to find that voltage regulator, and I found some documents on how to test it. So as soon as we found it, we would test it to see if it was any good, and if no good, we'd replace it with something comparable, one that would work with the Ford alternator that they put on. The difference between the two is that the Pentex was 250 amps, and the Ford alternator is only 100 amps. So okay, I don't need a big one anymore because I don't have all the bus equipment, the lift and the air conditioner that was on there. I don't have any of that stuff. All I have is just a motor to run. So a 100 would work just perfectly fine. It was for a 3500 pickup, so it would work in the 3500 van. So anyway, Monday I got on the phone and called AAA Bus down in Phoenix, and I'm in Kansas, and he tells me to contact a company out in Kansas City, Missouri. I contacted them. They walked me through what to look for. He sent me a picture of what it looked like so I could find it under the hood, and I did find it. And I found the part number and everything. And it was just a $40 part, and I was so glad because the Pentex one was almost $200. And I didn't have it. So I went across the street to the parts store that was there, and I bought the $40 part, brought it back. He told me how to put it in, which is just a couple bolts, but the trick to putting it in is you have to mount it before you plug it in, or you'll fry it because it grounds onto the body of the vehicle. So I did what he said. I plugged it in. I checked the battery. The battery was at 12.1. I turned the engine on, and the battery instantly went up to 14 like it's supposed to. I was in business. I could leave. So that was 4 days of waiting and cold, 17 degrees at night, cold during the day. It was when we had the big cold snap. I hooked up my diesel heater and kept the van really nice and warm. And then on Monday, the mechanic at the shop said I could stay one more night and leave out of there on Tuesday morning, which was really gracious of him to let me stay there and let us park on his property for all those days at no charge. That was pretty cool. So I left out of there, and everything worked out just perfectly fine. Hit the road on Tuesday, and then traveled to Greensburg, Kansas, and met up with 360 gal. You guys have heard me talk about her, Michelle, last year, several years ago. She's been out and about for a couple of years. I haven't seen her. So we met up and camped at a city park for a couple days, and I left out of there this morning. She left out last night. She was headed to Enid, Oklahoma, and I'm headed to Flagstaff and then on to Valley. So I've made it now to this San Juan in New Mexico. I'm all the way down in New Mexico today. I went through Oklahoma Panhandle, Texas Panhandle, and I'm in New Mexico. I gotta tell you, I thought the desert was desolate and awful. The panhandles, both panhandles, are just brown right now. They're so dry and so brown. There's not much greenery at all. The trees, there's no colorful trees. Now Nebraska was pretty. Anyway, onward back. It'll be cold when I get to Flagstaff again, and then cold up in Valley, but right now it's hot. And I think I'm going to stay up in Valley possibly until things cool down in the desert, because it's 80 degrees in the desert, which is nice for shorts weather. I might go down. I don't know. I just got to offload everything I've got on this van. You got to see what I'm hauling on my van. Hold on a second. I'm going to show you a walk around. of what's all on my van from picking up stuff from my girl's house. Okay, let me turn you around. Mr. Quark, hi. Hi. Go play, come on. Anyway, last year I showed you this rack on the front. I've got the generator up there. That whole black box is full of my paintings. And then this box here has got some personal items. And then diesel for the diesel heater. Little table that I got from my daughters. And the diesel heater, which I'm thankful that I was using. I need to mount that permanently and then run a line from here. This line right here. This is what blows the heat in. I need to run that up underneath, and there's a vent somewhere in here under the floor that blows out on your feet. And if I could find out how to access it, this would be the perfect place to put that vent up in here, and then the electrical cord goes down here and plugs in right here, and that goes to the batteries right there, and that goes to the batteries under the floor. So that would work really perfect. Right now I'm mounting it in the window. The other things are back here. Look like the Beverly Hillbillies. Got a new bike. That was the bike I rode in the last couple videos. It's a Giant brand mountain bike. I really like it. And I got an empty gas can, empty water can. All sitting back here to travel with. Anyway, I got to drop all this stuff off at the house. And there's more inside as well. There's a couple boxes on my bed. Would you get out of there? You're getting stuck. There's this bucket here. Right here. There's a box of photographs right there. So there's quite a few things in my van, on my van, around my van that I got from the girls' house. And then a lot of my stuff that was in my youngest daughter's basement. So now I have all of my belongings with me. And I need to take them to the property and drop them off. And then I can get things ready and take them to take what I need to take down for the winter. Okay, so that was mishap number 1. 2 more mishaps to come that I was definitely not prepared for. That first one was a doozy. I was parked at the mechanic shop from Friday morning, just early morning, sometime in the morning, until Tuesday morning. And yes, it was really, really cold, 17 degrees at night, like I mentioned, and it was during that cold snap we had earlier in the month of November. I got snow, I got sleet, I got everything while I was sitting at the mechanic shop in Kansas, and that diesel heater worked pretty good. I did get an error code on it one morning, and I took a look at it, and it just said it wasn't getting fuel, and I'm trying to figure out why, because there's still fuel in there. There's about yay much of fuel in there. But what I didn't realize was the gas can has a little valve which is about that high off the bottom, so you have to tilt the tank so that it gets all the gas down in the bottom. So I went and got some more diesel and filled it back up. The store was not too far away. I could walk over and pick it up and bring it back. But so Tuesday morning we headed out, and we went directly from there to a couple places in New Mexico then. And Friday afternoon I arrived in Albuquerque. I did not want to go through Albuquerque or spend the night in Albuquerque. I was now, for the first time in this trip, on freeway. Prior to that, I took all the back roads I could so that I could drive slower, enjoy the scenery, and that sort of thing, praying like crazy that nothing else would break down. I did the most stupidest thing ever in van life, and that was leaving the property to go to Idaho without an emergency fund. I made it all the way to Idaho okay. I had bought 4 tires, brand new tires, 2 in Flagstaff before I left, 2 in Idaho before I left Idaho. So I had 4 brand new tires on there, and I had done all the maintenance I needed to do, and everything looked good. Went all the way to North Dakota. I did well in North Dakota, nothing happened there, and then that first mishap down in Kansas with the alternator. Now, the Pentex alternator, I'm going to tell you, is $800 just for that alternator. And like I said, it's a 250 amp alternator with an exterior voltage regulator. I have learned a lot about the Pentex. To get a core for the Pentex is $400 core charge. So you're looking at $800 plus the $400. That's $1,200 just to get your alternator bought, not put in, just to buy it. Now, yes, I could put that in relatively simply, except for I am so physically in pain that I cannot crawl around underneath the van. I can't crawl around in the van. I had to take all that stuff off the front of the van so the mechanics could work there, and that front rack is designed to be taken off so that mechanics can get to the engine. And so all in all, the Kansas thing there in Phillipsburg worked out. It was a miracle and a half that when I got into the outskirts of Phillipsburg, my GPS was directing me to go a different direction, and I pulled over to the side, and that's when I heard all the noise under the hood. And I went and looked under the hood, couldn't find a thing, but there was a truck repair shop right there. I mean right there. Took the van to him. He came out and looked at it, and he said, "It sounds like your water pump's going." And I'm like, "Oh great, I just replaced that water pump." So he told me that there was a mechanic shop in town, and I could take it there because he didn't work on cars. Okay, fine. So I limped down the road, took it there. They took a look at it, and they said, "No, not the water pump. It is definitely your alternator, and you're going to need a new one." Okay, a new one. That was a couple $100, I think, for that alternator. And then his charge to replace it and put it on. And one of the main reasons he refunded me the money was because they had to take the alternator off again, bench check it because it wasn't working, so they had to put a different one in, and he had no way of letting me, fixing it. So him and his buddies just like, "We're at a loss, we're done." And basically they're a boat winterizing and boat repair. So, all things told, things worked out very, very well. I do know that God was watching over me. I know that if we'd have broke down on the road, the van would be done. I'd be walking all the way from New Mexico home, or from Kansas, home. And no, everything worked out. God was watching me. Everything was great. Now we're on the road again. Now, that was on Tuesday. Friday, second mishap, and I'm going to put this clip in here and show you what happened there. I just noticed how long this video is, and I have decided to split this video in two. I did tape the entire thing, but it's going to be really, really long. So I hate cliffhangers, but I'm going to leave you with a cliffhanger. So second and third mishap will be coming out next week on time because they're already taped and already edited. So without further ado, I want to thank you all for coming along. I'm sorry about the cliffhanger. So come back next week and see what happens with mishap number 2 and number 3. And follow your heart, embrace your dreams, and cherish your life. Thank you all for your support. Thank you for thumbs up. Thank you for sharing my video. And if you haven't shared it, please share it. And thank you very, very much for your support. All right. Thank you. We'll see you later. Quark and I say bye.